So today I want to give you some tools to set your project the right way and to start off with the right approach for yourself and approach your professionals with the right information to start your project. I'll start with the 3 key for successful planning. There's 3 key items that you need to focus on to make your project start in the right direction. And then we'll have 1 action to guarantee answers to your questions. The most unknown when you first plan a project, there are a lot of unknowns at the beginning related to the land, to what can I build here, what's my restriction with the size and all those stuff, so we'll go through that. And then I'll give you a simple tool that I have here on the stage, which will be yours to keep after to get your project in line and start your process. So the 3 key items looks very basic, but the land, the design, and the builder. Those are the 3 items that you need to set properly in order to have your successful project, and be sure to transfer the information from your land to your designer and the builder, knowing what the designer is doing right now, so you don't end up with unhappy situations at the end where your budget is way over what you expected at first. So it's all 3 elements that I'll talk separately, but they're all joined together and you need to make it happen all together. The first one, the land. Most people buy a land without necessarily knowing all the elements they need to figure out around the land. The cost of the land is not only the property, buying the property, but also knowing how will I bring hydro in my property? How long is my driveway? What's the backfill that will be required for the building I want to put in there? All those costs, the well, the septic, all those costs are the most expensive aspect of putting the land ready to receive the building. So this is really important to figure out how you're going to prepare the land and make it happen. So it's all about knowing, is it better to put my house in this position on the land, or if I just move it a few feet or 20 feet further, it's going to cost me half the cost for the backfill? Those are all thoughts that you need to have in mind when you're looking at the land, and sometimes you don't necessarily have the expertise, so it's important to have a professional look at your land with you and evaluate, okay, what can I do on this property? The neighbors, are their septic really close to your land, which doesn't allow you to put the well where you intended to put the well location? All those small things needs to be considered and make it happen on the property. Which brings you to the design. Also the land, does the land offer you more opportunities than you even thought at first with the setting? Is it a nice slope land where I can take advantage of the basement, and instead of putting a 2nd floor on the building, can I put basement bedrooms with nice big windows, because I have a nice walkout where I can have a playroom going right straight out? All those aspects, the land will also dictate what your design can be. And also my driveway, is it coming from the left, from the right, the center? Okay, well, my design, my main entrance, where is it? So all the dynamic of the rooms being also, do I have a nice view on the water? So all those things needs to be shared to the designer so they can be conscious of what you have as an advantage on the land as well. This will all influence your budget at the end, because if you, instead of putting a 2nd floor, you have to dig a basement. So you'll have the room already, almost, you just have to finish the interior to create the rooms, the spare rooms. If it's for visitors once in a while, you want to spend for them for sure, but you want to put the more important aspects of the building is in your main room where you live. So where do you want to put your money? Is it in the hole and having a full tons of backfill for your creating a bungalow style house when your land is sloped naturally? Where do you want to spend your money? So this is all part of it. And then you want to make sure that your builder also understands what the designer is about to do for you. And sometimes what I tell people, when you're in the design stage, maybe think about it as a first draft, not necessarily with designers, you go through a lot of questioning why you're going with this kind of room and all that. You don't want to go to the builder after and he says, oh, no, don't do that like that. Like this is going to be better for you. And if you involve the builder at the design stage, you go and take your preliminary design, you go into a few builders and say, okay, where's my budget standing if I decide to build with you with this kind of design? Well, you'll see the reality, because unfortunately, designers don't always have the latest numbers of the market, the new products out there that are maybe more expensive or less expensive than what we used to have. So it's making the balance between the designer and the builder will bring you to your numbers in a more realistic way without taking too long in the process. Because we've seen client going to the designer does something, going to the builder says, oh boy, that's not a $200,000 home, it's a $400,000 home. So, you know, we've seen it so many times that we said the best way is to go with your preliminary design, go see the builder, and they will give you a sense of where you're standing. And also the builder can even go further than that and give you some hints on how to lower the cost of your design, but keeping the essence of your design. First example in mind is your roof structure. Today, the roof is almost more important than the house itself visually on the exterior. They're humongous roofs. So imagine the complexity also of that roof creates an amount that makes your budget go into the roof structure instead of your main room building and all that. So the builders sometimes have their tricks in their hands to create the same look, but same time saving some costs on it. The builder, it's important to choose the right one for yourself and to feel comfortable sharing your information with your builder, because you'll be working with the builder depending on the size of the construction. Usually it can take 4 months to 8-9 months to complete a house, depending on the complexity and all the finishes and all that. So imagine it's your dream home. When you're talking about a custom home, it's not to get the same as your neighbor, or you want your special touch in there. You want your elements that were important at the design phase to be respected through the end of the project. And sometimes when we're not clear even on our first intention we can be pushed to make some decisions that will affect those end results through your final product. Just an example, like I said previously, the industry is not a perfect world. So the foundation guy may be off a little bit in his foundation. Then the framer comes and tries to square it off. And the interior dimensions now are a little bit shifted, a few inches here and there less than on the original drawings. When that's the case, imagine if the contractor takes a decision and says, okay, well, we're missing 3 inches in each bedrooms. Instead of cutting in the bedrooms, we'll cut in the bathroom. But in your mind, my bathroom, I want my 6-foot tub in there, and I now have 5'6" between my walls. So you need to be able to share those comments with your builder and for him to understand where are your priorities, and knowing, no, my preference is to lose those 3 inches in the bedrooms because the bathroom is my main focus. I want to relax in my bath at the end of the day. So it's all about knowing to choose the builder that will understand your final needs and work according to it, to make it happen for you and have your comfort at the end of the project, because a lot of small details can be lost in the construction process, but the main focus is to have your quality of life inside when you're done with the project. And always expect that something will go wrong. That's the industry. There will always be adjustments, but what you don't want to end up doing is making the compromise on your needs and on your main focus. So that's why choosing the right builder, you'll know how to handle those situations to make the right choice for your needs. One action that I wanted to share with you that's really important to make it happen is the site assessment. For the ones that already have the land, you may already have walk through your land, imagine yourself that the house should be here and have the view in front of you and all that. Like I said, you need to look at more than just the building itself, and that's why a site assessment with a professional is important for them to make you aware of the possibilities above what you already saw about your property, in the sense that if your driveway is 500-meter long and coming from this side you have 10 feet of backfill to create the road properly, and just changing it a little bit, yes, maybe it's doing a compromise for you, but you're saving $15,000 of backfill just for your entranceway. The logic somewhere will be, okay, yes, I'm ready to accept to enter in my driveway right here instead of there. If saving $15,000, maybe I'll have my granite counter at the end, you know? So it's those to understand all the options that can bring you to what's really your needs at first, and then the rest you play around to make it happen for your reality and your budget, because it all comes down to budget. All the decision making is around where do I spend my money to have the better result and the most quality you want for the final product. The simple tool that I wanted to share today with you as well is a checklist to better understand your needs. We always go and just chat a few hours here and there before we meet with the designer and just share the big lines. Well, I propose to you to go a little bit deeper to save some time on your process of building. You'll get clearer on your decision making, and when you'll meet with the professional doing your design and all that, you'll get to the result way faster, and you'll be more conscious of the compromise you want or don't want to do. So the checklist, is on our website, and we have copies right here that you can come and grab and do the exercise at your own time. It's really what it is. It comes back to the simple aspects of your project, like thinking about, do I prefer an open concept or an enclosed rooms concept? Do I want an entranceway that's open to my living room, or I prefer to have it enclosed not to feel the cold in the winter when you open the door? The number of bedrooms you need. Simple stuff as, do I need a fireplace in the living room, or I want a second one in the basement? All those, you need to know those aspects to make your budget happen at the end. And if you're clear on what you really want, you'll know where to go with this. And then you have the wish list, which is my preferred one. You start with the other one for the big items, then you go deeper in your thoughts. And you say, okay, yeah, I want 3 bedrooms. My master bedroom, do I need 12 by 14 or do I need 20 by 20 for my master bedroom? Is it more important for me to have a walk-in closet, or I have that much of clothing and I have enough of a regular 4-foot closet for myself and one for my husband? How do I live with this? And go deeper in those details. It's going to help the designer make sure they respect what you want as a final product. And in there we have 3 columns. So there's the must-have. I must have a minimum 12 by 12 bedroom for my kids. Would be nice to have my ensuite bathroom and 1 bathroom for the kids. And also don't forget to think as well as what you don't want. The designer can throw you in the direction, and if you're not clear together at home knowing what you don't want in your house, and the designer brings you to a certain place and the other one says, oh, interesting, and the other one is there, no, not really. Well, you'll come up to a final result quicker by knowing what you want or not. So with this tool, it's going to bring you it won't bring you to the final design, and it's perfectly normal, and you should take magazines and get inspired by what's out there. But at the end, by knowing what you really need, what would be nice to have, The designer will be able to take, okay, they like this style. It's possible to do a kitchen like that magazine, but in a 12 by 12 room instead of 20 by 10. So it's all those aspects that the designer should be able to do for you. And with the tools like this, you bringing that to them will simplify the process and have you more satisfaction and less cost and design factor for your project. To just do a quick revision of everything, your land, your design, your builder should not be looked at separately. You should always make a transition from one to the other. So if your land is purchased, bring your designer on your site. If the designer is separate from your builder, get the builder involved at the design stage and even have them look at the land, or because the land, the designer can see stuff and the builder can see other stuff that could save you money at the end. It's a formula that will help you understand what the process is for each person doing the design or the building. They'll know your needs and you'll get heard from them on what your expectations are as well. And the site assessment, like I said, everything is related, because the site is the first item that will dictate what you need. Don't start by finding the builder if you don't have any land. The builder may not be the best for that kind of construction. If you're in the country and you need blasting, you need a well, a septic, and you hire a contractor that only builds in town, well, it's not the same challenge, it's not the same construction type, because you're not related to the city sewage or stuff like that. And so you need to find the builder that will be able to help you. And as I said, the most important thing is to be able to talk with your builder and be heard of your needs and what you wish at the end. So horror stories, you'll have glitches or challenges, I prefer calling them, through the process. But if your builder is there for you, you'll get through the process with nice results, and you'll be happy in your house. And the dream home, the cottage, the custom building is always about feeling good in your environment and making it personal and identify yourself to your environment. So the builder needs to understand that and make it happen for you. So that's pretty much where I wanted to bring you today. There's a lot more to a construction than this, but to start off on the right note, you have to understand what's involved in the first steps of the project. And would anybody have some questions?
Yes. What is what your land is if there's rock, right? Or can it throw you for a loop, right?
If there's rock on the land, it could throw you. Yes. Blasting is always something to look for sure. Until you dig, you don't even know if you'll have to blast. But some areas are more subject to be requiring blasting or not. We've seen some blasting from a few $1,000s worth of blasting to up to 15,000 blasting, and then you need to put the rock somewhere. So it's really depending on the land. You'll end up with a situation where you have to consider that in your budget. So this is why I'm saying assess your land, know what's worth to prepare the site, and then you can figure the building according to it. Am I going with larger size building because I know I need space long term, with less quality at the beginning because I have that expense related to the land? Or do I say, okay, I'll shrink it down a little bit because I want the quality inside right now. I want to have my granite counters. I want my hardwood floors. But this expense, I can't replace it with anything else unless I decide not to do any basement at all instead of having exactly. So it's, yes. Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. Average cost per square foot for a custom home? Yes. What we've seen for a single dwelling, that's my expertise domain. So The average cost is about $160 to $200 per square foot, and this includes all the, I was saying about the land, the aspects, and if you have blasting, for sure you'll be a little bit more towards the 200 than the 160. So those are the average costs to start your project, your mindset of where do I want to stand with my project. Okay, well maybe the 2,000 square foot home, I can live with 1,800, and at least I'm sure I won't bust my budget at the end, and I'll have what I need. So it's all, like you say, the budget is really important to be conscious of that when you first start. But like I said, you have to think more than just the building, because the building, if I'm telling you a number, the building you can build at 125 to 160. And at the end, it's at $200 because of your site, your hydro line that costs you like 25,000 grand instead of 2,000 to bring it in. I'm not helping you decide what to do with your design and your building because I'm not giving you all the information on how to proceed with all that. So making sense with all the elements of your project. That's why we prefer to tell you 160 to 200. You have, if your land offers a nice beach sand excavation where you can even backfill with the material you had, you're saving a ton of money. Because we've seen backfill situation from as less as $6,000 excavation and backfill up to $100,000 to backfill. The size of the building has an effect on there, and the land itself. If the client says, no, I really want my house there, but you have a ton of backfill to do to create the environment he wants, the money is going there. There's no magic to it. Yes? Yes, thank you.